What is going on, gamers? And welcome back to another episode of the Squawk and Seas podcast, your favorite Pokemon podcaster's favorite Pokemon podcast. My name is Kyle Koopa Rios, and usually I'm joined by the Pony Bottle Champ himself, Mr. George Fabre. George has caught a severe case of something. I was going to make a joke, but I feel bad. He's sick. Soul. God rest his soul. Yeah, George has caught a bad case of the willies or something. So he will not be joining us this week. In his stead, though, however, will be our special guest making his first appearance on the podcast, a fellow squawker, one of the four newly deemed Burger Boys, a new sub faction.
Don't forget Roger. Don't forget Roger.
Yeah. That's true. I don't know if I'm ready to get Roger on a podcast yet. That might be dangerous.
Oh, God.
that might be a Geneva convention violation.
A little bit of propaganda. They hear nobody.
That's the voice of a good friend of the show and one of our fellow squawkers, Mr. Andrew Mallach. Andrew, it's a pleasure to finally get you on the show. How you doing?
It's good to be on this pod. I'm going to miss the potential banter that we could have had with Mr. Pony Bottle Champ. But you know what? We're going to make do. We're going to have a great time, you know?
Yeah, we're going to have a much more professional podcast.
For context, I was only allowed on the podcast because Kyle said to me before. I asked to be on the pod before, but he's like, yo, you can be on the pod if you day two at San Antonio. So I'm like, all right. We'll see, and that's going to be our first topic, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely jump into that because the boy, as the kids say, fucked around and did it. But we'll jump into that in a bit. But yeah, George is sick this week, so he won't be joining us for this week's episode. So everyone, give George your well wishes, and specifically send him videos of APT by Bruno Mars featuring Rosie from Blackpink.
He loves that song.
It has been. It's honestly like my 7-year-old nephew loves that song, and I don't think he loves it as much as George does. It's like actually the funniest thing ever. I don't.
It's a good song.
It is a banger. But yeah, well, I'll start the podcast as I usually do, where we'll talk about how the past week has been. So Andrew, what's going on, man? How's your past week of Pokemon TCG going? Because somebody decided to fuck around and win a cup this past weekend.
Yeah, man. Can't complain. Went to the Final Turn Cup on Sunday. It was about, I think, 20 players. It's my first cup win. Played a good old Dragapult Dusknoir. That deck is stupid in this format.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. How
it's pretty good, man. Turn 2 Lance hits like something else, bro.
Hits like a certain sort of paraphernalia in a certain time period.
Exactly.
No, yeah, we're it's weird to be, we're going to be talking about San Antonio, obviously, which is last format. We are now balls deep in the Prismatic Evolutions format. I played 0 Pokemon the past week. Well, I did enter the challenge at Highlander on Friday, and I'm just kind of at the point where I'm just like, I'm not really going anything this format. The next tournament I enter will be post rotation, which, by the way, at the time this podcast will go up, registration for Atlanta is going to be going up like pretty soon. So that's horrifying to think about.
Got to get on that. I'm trying to go there for sure. My sister lives down there, so it's going to be a good time to visit her. So yeah, definitely trying to go play some Mamoswine.
Yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there, but
it's definitely not Coke. I swear.
No, well, it's depends if you get Blaziken or not. Let's.
Garganackle, bro. Garganackle kind of beast.
Yeah. Oh God, get that guy away from me.
Heal 30, bro. Heal 30.
Sure. Sheesh. That guy's fed. That's fed for sure. But yeah, Andrew decided to win a cup with Dragapult. That seems to be the hot deck coming out of Prismatic Evolutions. And while things don't feel that they're quite different, they definitely do. Badu has been. I don't want to say like meta warping, but like it kind of feels that way.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's just like the deck feels very. I think Badu just gives a lot of decks different angles of approach. It's not broken by any stretch of the imagination. How I do feel like that, like some of the create. I don't want to say creativity, but like how wide the field was in formats past, I feel like item lock really kind of puts a hanker on like what really is a real deck or not in the time
Yeah, I
being.
was gonna say you want to talk about a Fed. That guy,
Yeah,
top Fed right now.
yeah.
I
Badu's
kind
a
of
federal agent for sure.
yeah. I'm not going to any majors this format either. Skipping out on EUIC, skipping out on Vancouver. So this format's kind of fake to me. I mean, even though I want to call it, can't really help that, you know. But I think the format's overall like not too bad right now. I think the slower pace is a welcome change. Coming from Reggie Drago format, which was go first and set up or die.
Yeah,
Uh, it's not that right now, which is kind of chill, you know.
yeah. I noticed that in the challenge at Highlander last Friday. I decided to because I kind of wanted to just kind of turn my brain off.
Oh,
So I
speaking
played
of
Cerula
Drago,
GX. Yeah, I played Cerula GX with a 1/1 line of Reggie Drago V Star because I'm a psychopath.
could
And
you?
the deck was okay. I just hit a couple of matchups that were like really bad for me. But I think what I like about Badu is that like it gives these sort of decks where it's like, okay, decks that might want to go like, turn two like TM Evo or turn two Cleffa. It just kind of gives these decks a different angle of something to do. There
Yeah.
was opportunity, there was ample opportunities where I'm like, okay, like if I didn't item lock my opponent here, I probably just lose the game on the spot. Playing Cerule Edge, which is a deck that's like it's fine. It's incredibly one dimensional. So like you're not going to be winning any like you're not going to be your game plan's very straightforward. You don't have a lot of lot of wiggle room for stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but there was turns where I'm just like, okay, my opponent has like a Palkia V Star down, or my opponent has a Reggie Drago V down. I'm like, okay, if I just Badu you here, you have a 3-card hand. Chances are you're not going to top deck yourself out of it, and it gives me a turn to kind of get my ducks in a row here. So I think
Yeah.
Badu is definitely a welcome change for sure. Sometimes you play against Dragapult and you lose 6 prize cards in one turn, and that sucks. But hey, what are you gonna do? But
Good deck. Pretty good deck.
yeah, but it's definitely good, and we can complain about Badu till the cows come home. But this card's gonna be here for a while, so I don't think things are gonna change very much. We're gonna get more stuff, but Badu's still gonna be a constant. So
Get ready to get itchy, buddy. Get
yeah,
ready to get itchy.
it's gonna get real itchy.
Get the Claritin out, bro.
Yeah, real fast. But that is, we'll talk more about that as we progress forward. But yeah, the big crux of our conversation is that Andrew mentioned. Andrew has only been to 2 majors. And just before we kind of get into the thick of things, Andrew, what is your history with competitive Pokemon for people that may be as inclined?
Absolutely. So, um, I got into the game during the pandemic, actually. I don't know if you remember that one like video Logan Paul made of him like opening up like a base set Charizard or whatever, like during the pandemic. It was like this
Yes.
whole big deal, and then everyone was getting into collecting the game again, and I was like, wait, why don't I just play the game online? Like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm stuck in my house during the pandemic. Um, turns out, questionable decision because it was during everyone's favorite format, Vivid Voltage.
Oh God.
So, you know,
Big peaks, baby.
good old ADP and Pika Rom and Eternatus VMAX, you know, all the all stars, man. Just love
Murderers
that.
Row.
Love that. Um, Battle Styles came out a bit after that. I really liked the single strike deck. A big fan of single strike Urshifu VMAX with Houndoom. And then the Umbreon came out, and I was like, wait, this guy's just a free boss every turn.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts, dude. And then you could just one shot everything. I think is sick. And then,
It's
but
pretty
then
good.
Shadow Rider Calyrex came out, and I was like, oh, no, game's
Yeah.
not that fun anymore. I was getting
No.
Genky'd on turn 2, and it's like, oh man, what am I doing here?
Your best.
Yeah. So I actually went to my first in-person local ever during Evolving Skies format. Actually, it was while I was still in college. The deck I brought was Ice Rider with Suicune V
Ah,
and the
God, I miss
Intellion
that
engine.
guy. Nice.
I love Suicune. That
He's cool.
guy. But then I also started playing the Suicune deck with the Ludicolo that boosts the basics
Oh.
damage by 100. That guy is sick, dude.
I love that guy.
Big
Like,
fan. Big
I have
fan.
I have a stamped playset of that card because I pulled
The
like a bunch of them
Ludicolo.
out of like, yeah, like I pulled a bunch of them
Oh,
out of like old series prize packs, and that was before I had like a concept of like what the hell that guy did, and I'm like, oh wait, no, this is actually kind of broken.
good times, man. Good times. Related to TCG though, I actually had a bit of a Yu-Gi-Oh arc after that. Master Duel came out. I was having a good time with that. Bought a pretty cheap IRL deck. Went to some locals at RNG Games. Shout out.
Real,
Um, and then the game became cringe, so I decided to go back to IRL Pokemon.
real.
Like probably like end of 2023 is when I started to go into more IRL Pokemon stuff, and here we are.
Yep. Listen, that's quite the extensive history, and like just for a good context, but as I usually do with new people on this podcast, you and I have known each other for a very long time. Like prior to Pokemon, we've known each other for I
Yeah,
can't put a
man.
number on it. We've known each other for a very long time through other competitive avenues of Super Smash Brothers and a variety.
Oh, you gotta censor
Andrew
that,
is
man.
you're
No, I'm
yes,
kidding.
redacted. You're kind of a gamer, Andrew.
A
Like
bit of a gamer, yeah.
you're kind of a sweaty. I don't know.
Yeah, I got into Smash 4 when it came out. That was like the first game I was going to tournaments for back in like 2015. Um, bit after that, Pokken came out. Um, I was playing Pokken on the Wii U like at home. But then the Switch version came out. I started going tournaments for that. Ended up being kind of good. But since the pandemic, I've like kind of put it down. The scene in New Jersey kind of died, but the Jersey scene for Pokken, man, was sick.
Those are some people.
Very fond memories of going to locals for that game.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I have a. If it wasn't for my friend Darth Arma, who I think like dabbled in poking a bit, but is more of a Mortal Kombat guy. He's the guy that got me going into Pokemon locals. So that's
my Pokken father, you've been to HBA a bunch. I think you know
of
Whitey
course.
White.
Oh yeah, I love that guy.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there. Big ups
That's
to
my
Mr. Zaleski.
yeah, that's my goat. I love that guy.
He's
He's
sick.
mad funny.
He's so sick.
Yeah, it was a time back then. But yeah, we're people who we've known each other through in passing for a while, but it wasn't until you started kind of showing up to the shop more where we just
Yeah.
gradually became better friends as card games usually do. And you decided to go to your first regional a few months ago into Toronto, and then you decided to fuck around in day two, which was we were all very happy for you.
I definitely fucked around too because I forgot to sleeve one of my cards. But let's not worry about that. You know?
We've crucified you on a couple of episodes on that one.
Yep. I'm sure.
We made sure to count your cards very very closely in San Antonio.
Oh yeah.
But we yeah, and then you asked me if when you can jump on the podcast, and I told you if you day two again, I'll let you on the show. And you not only did you day two, you came within 3 spots of winning a hot band. So I guess now we can transition into the San Antonio talk. Andrew and myself, along with the rest, a good number of our coalition, attended the San Antonio regionals. About by the time you get to this, it'll be I think this episode's going to come out on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. So
Sure.
we'll it'll be about 2 weeks since San Antonio happened. Yeah, we went. Andrew decided to go get 35th place. Which is very exciting. And again, we got to give roses to for other former guests on the show. The smartest man I know, Mr. Michael Bio, coming in with a hot 14th place.
He was cooking.
Mike,
He was
Mike
cooking.
cooked. I'm really happy for him, but also equally as happy for you. So I guess tournament aside, how was your San Antonio experience?
Oh, dude, I love that place. I need to go back there, Pokemon or not. Like, oh, the city is so beautiful. Like, if you've never been there, you gotta go. Like, the Riverwalk is just amazing. Even if you go during the winter, it was like 60 degrees outside. Like,
Yeah,
it was beautiful all weekend. The food is great. Vibes are great. Just overall, just insane, like insanely good vibes all
Yeah,
around.
and a lot of that will be coming out in the vlog too, which will be coming out before this episode comes out. I promise. Between,
Hmm.
I also got sick. Everyone's just dropping like flies around here. Like I got sick for a few days. It's just been crazy busy. I've been getting so much sleep the last few days. It's like actually disgusting. Um, but yeah, San Antonio is honestly a beautiful city. It's my first time going to Texas. I didn't quite know what to expect given the current climate of the world that we live in right now, but it was a lot of fun. The Riverwalk was was fun. And like you said, around the time that we went, it's January. It's like 60 degrees outside. It felt really nice. A southwest 60 is like a New Jersey 70. So it was
Yes.
great. I wish I didn't play Reggie Drago V-Star. I did not have fun in the tournament. This is the worst I've ever done at a regional
Damn,
championship. So
really?
that stunk. Yeah,
Oh
I did
God.
not. Yeah, it was not a great time. Usually I'm good to squeak out like, 4 wins. This time it was not in the cards
Mm.
for me this weekend. I hit some jank, and Reggie Drago turns out was not the play for me. But it seemed that you ate the Reggie Dragos alive, Andrew. So talk a little bit about your tournament run
Yeah.
in San Ambronio.
So yeah, regarding Reggie Drago, I fought four of them, and I was 3-1 against Drago on the
We
weekend.
lo- we love to see it.
Um, the deck I chose was Palkia V Star with Terrapago CX. I played it at Toronto too. Before you said I'm hopping on the bandwagon, because it got popular at Birmingham the week before. Not for me. I've been playing that deck since Stellar Crown dropped. I'm a big fan of that deck, man.
It's a
Um,
good deck.
it's it was cooking, man. I don't know how it's. I was trying a slightly different build in the current format with Badoo and stuff, but getting Badooed in that deck is miserable. So you're gonna have to you're gonna have to rebuild it somehow. But let's not worry about that right now. It's Surging Sparks
Yeah,
format, right?
yeah.
So
We're time traveling. We're time traveling.
my record for the weekend was 9 wins, 1 loss, 3 ties. All three of my ties were against Charizard decks. Funnily enough,
This is very
and
funny.
yeah, and the Charizard deck I tied against my first round of day two was Bibzard. Funnily enough, as well. I was definitely not expecting that. He was playing like a 2/2 Bibline, Squovet, Manaphy. Um, he searched Binding Mochi at one point, so he was definitely playing Pecharon EX, so he never benched it. Um, the deck seems sick, honestly. It might honestly cook in Badoo format low key because you're just drawing all your stuff with B barrel and you have like TM Evo and stuff. It was kind of
Honestly,
dirty.
it might
It was
be
kind of
pretty
dirty.
good.
Yeah.
Might be pretty good.
Um, but other than that, I actually hit 2 stalls as well. I hit one in day one. The guy I hit in day one on stall, I beat him game one, and he was just like, you know what, you just take the set. Um, like I'm not gonna play this out. Tying doesn't help either of us, so you got it. I'm like, oh, all right, man, thanks. Yeah, he ended up being
See
really
you
cool.
later.
He was a cool dude. I caught up with him a little bit in day two, and we just chatted a bit about what's going on. The second stall I hit, which was in day two, that was by far the sweatiest match that I had to play in the whole tournament. I had to use all 5 of my brain cells to pull that game out. Like there was a point at the end of the game where I had Prime Catcher in my hand, and I was like, okay, I just need to hold on to this to go to my last prize card. If I get Eeried, I lose. And he just bossed up a Noctowl, said pass, and I was like, boom, Prime Catcher. 5 big booms. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Um, and then game two, he didn't scoop like the other guy right away. Game two, we played out. I definitely would have lost if stuff got played out. Towards the end, we were just going draw, pass, draw, pass, draw, pass, and then we got to turns, and he couldn't mill me in time, and the judge was just right there. So as soon as turn 3 ended, I'm like, Judge, I won game 1, so I'm like, I won this game, right? They're like, yeah. The guy was not happy, but we take we take those, you know. We don't
Can't
like
see
stall.
it.
We don't like stall. You know, stall's actually not not a bad matchup for that deck. I didn't really practice against stall beforehand, but you have a lot of outs. You have prime catcher, switch, canceling cologne, Kieran. Kieran's busted. I love Kieran, dude. That card
He's a guy.
is bonkers, man.
He's a goat.
Um,
Certified 5 big booms for Kieran. So
5 big booms for Kieran. That guy's
for
MVP.
sure.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, man.
You had quite the run for sure. Again, finishing just a hair shy of $1,000 is nothing to be shy about. Again, with a deck that it's people will. We were talking about in the group chat how Palkia Tarapagos kind of like became like the hot deck in the Birmingham regional championships, and poor Andrew is going to be looked at as like it's like the
Meta
I thought of the
sheep.
Buzz. Yeah, like
Meta
I
sheep
thought of like
now.
the Buzz Lightyear like in like the boxes memes of just like of like the original thought.
Yeah.
But no, listen, you made it work. We're and I'm real happy for you. So I figured we'd
Thank you, man.
kind of dive in a little bit to your process here, because again, you're pretty fresh into regionals. You've day 2 twice, so given that,
2 for 2.
and for the people that are trying to break through, what can you say to the young folks at home to be like, hey, like, what are some things I should be where should I be putting my mental energy towards if I want to like perform consistently at these big events?
Okay, so I was saying this to you guys in private, but um, just don't think about it. Just play the game. That's kind of the mentality I went into it with, because I'm going to a regional with like over 2,000 players. I don't expect to play perfectly the whole time. I don't expect to, just curb stomp everybody I play against, because I'm honestly not at that level yet, right? But I
Right.
know that I'm competent at the game. I know I've played a lot of practice games with my boys. I know I'm gonna have a good time regardless, right? You just go in with that mentality, just be like, I'm just gonna play the game. I'm gonna try to minimize my mistakes, just focus, right? Just do that, and if you're better than the person that you're across, unless you brick, then you're probably gonna win. Like,
Yeah.
my round 2 was against Maridon, which should be a pretty difficult matchup, but I just had opportunities to outplay my opponent. I'll give you one example, right? Game 2, he's going second. He puts down his area 0, he's got Raikou and all that, right? But he doesn't get a turn 1 attack. So my board is Terapagos in the front and 2 guys on the bench. So what's it? So I've fan wrote him for like a Hoot Hoot and some other stuff, right? But if I have 3 bench Pokemon and that guy has his bench full, Raikou's doing 240. So I have Thornton in my hand, so I Ultra Balled away one of the Hoot Hoots, and Thornton the fan wrote him into Hoot Hoot, so that way he's doing 220 instead of 240.
Ah.
You just gotta think. You just gotta use your noodle a little bit, and then you can get there, man. Uh, Yeah, and that was like a winning play because he couldn't kill my Terapagos turn 1. I was able to get a kill on him in return, and I just won the prize trade. So just gotta think.
Yeah, I think something that makes that we also talk about is that, like, not being, and something I've heard other top players say is that, like, don't be afraid to make the risky move. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to don't play to not lose the game. Play to win the game. So it's like if you gotta flip a coin, flip that coin. If you gotta maybe like high roll for the risky play, go for it. I think those are the things that, like, you can't really teach someone. It's just kind of like instinctually you got to go for it in the moment.
Yeah, you get a feel for it. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I think when you do these things enough, it translates well, and it's already translating even better for you. I mean, you've got some you've got some points at a regional. You
Hmm.
got some points at a cup. You won a cup. You got the Pikachu mat, which is sick.
I didn't get it yet.
Um,
Jason
Not
hasn't
yet.
gotten them yet,
Yeah,
so still
it's in
waiting
the
on that a
mail. It
little.
goes to another school. That's where it is. It's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
But just kind of like talking broadly out loud here again, we're kind of at like the halfway point of the season. At what point do you say I'm going to quit my job and try to grind out a Worlds invite? Where's your head at in terms of just like
Yeah, look, man. I mean, I love this game. I love the people that I play it with, but at the end of the day, it's still a hobby, right? I still have to
yeah,
focus on, trying to further my career and stuff. I'm like 2.5 years out of college. I still have a lot of time to, further that stuff. I gotta focus on that. I gotta get my bread up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um,
Yeah,
I mean, I could get my bread up by playing Pokemon, but I don't think quitting my job and trying to just do that full time would work out.
yeah,
But
it's tough.
yeah, don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
don't do that for sure. But yeah, it is. It's always like a fun debate to have, and also shows. Listen, you can have a job, be an employed person, and also perform very well at these tournaments.
Yeah, man.
It's certainly not something that is unheard of or hard to do. I think if you just practice right, and I think something that's like worked out for the lot of us, and I'm sure George would agree, is that like having a consistent group of people to play with now is really really helpful.
Dude.
Last season the big grinders for Worlds were Omar and our friend Hamza. They were the big and Matt Tam, obviously, they were like the alongside like guys like Mike, who would always who hasn't really stopped,
Yeah.
even though Mike, which is funny
Mike
because
is
Mike
just
always talks
different,
about it.
man.
Yeah,
He's just
yeah,
built different.
he's built different. So like, I think those guys, obviously were on the grind a lot last year, and we were all just kind of like herpy derpy, just kind of following behind, going to whatever we can, and now we've kind of taken the lead as like guys going to a lot of stuff. I love the look and shock and awe in George's eyes when he was like, God, I'm just traveling so much. Like I keep going to all these places, and then he doesn't even blink at the fact. It's like, oh yeah, like let's go to Atlanta in 2 months. Like it's
Yeah, man.
So but I think having like a good group of people to like test with and grind with. We put in a lot of hours of work. A lot of late nights in Discord playing games with each other. So
Right.
find your
But
people.
I forgot to mention, like, literally the biggest thing about why I was doing. Well, it kind of fit in with, testing with boys and stuff, but go to your locals, play in person. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I think we're very privileged because we live in New Jersey, which is such a competitive part of the country when it comes to, honestly, a lot of, you know, uh, nerdy competition like this, right? Like, you know yourself, like, New
Yep.
Jersey Smash is some crazy
Bunch
stuff,
of
man.
sweat lords.
Bunch of sweat lords. And Pokemon around here is no different, right? But sure, people are going to be sweaty, but there's also people. I mean, those same people are also going to teach a new player how to play the game or play a certain deck. Like, everyone at locals is so supportive. They always, talk to Chris Gonzalez. He's got extra cards for everybody.
My
You
goat.
can always get the hookup. All the goats, man. Shout out to Final Turn Gaming and Highlander Games, man. Without them, I would be nowhere near as good at the game as I am now. So
Yeah.
big ups to those guys.
Community is huge, but that was it was a lot of fun to watch for sure. Obviously, fell a little bit short of some cash money, but fun weekend
Yeah.
regardless. I got to give a big shout out to guest friend of the show, Miss Emily Foreman, for a great final cast on finals. She crushed it all
Yeah.
weekend. It was really fun to watch Emily. She was talking about how she's much more of a play-by-play caster for the most part, but so they threw her on color this time around, and she crushed it. You can tell that
Yeah, dude.
she was able to flex a lot of that brain knowledge, which is really only you're you're only able to flex that muscle so hard if you play the game.
Yeah.
And again, Emily's right there in the trenches with us every week, so she's
hmm She
you know,
drives like 2.5 hours to go to Final Turn like every week. Like it's
she's
insane,
dedicated. I
dude.
don't like driving half an hour to go to work in the morning. Like she's out
Yeah,
there driving.
dude.
Yeah, she's built different. We all are. But also shout out to the goat Henry Chow, New York native, out in
That
Long
guy
Island. He
is like
crack.
unbelievable, man.
Insane, bro. That finals game against Alex Szymanski, also on the Terapagos Palkia, that was like one of the best games of Pokemon I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, who knew
Was
that Assault landing 4 times in a row wouldn't end up winning the game? Poor Szymanski. But yeah, his list was sick. He's like a bit more teched out, especially for Charizard, which is a pretty tough matchup. He's playing the
yeah.
Silene Devo package, which I thought was like super out of this world creative. Like I would have never expected that in that deck, but it works. You know, you can just Noctowl for it. Who cares? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Just
then
Noctowl for the
sometimes you
Devo.
and then sometimes you Devo our friend on stream and he gets a double prize penalty for it. So
Let's not worry about that. You know, let's let's not worry about
if
that.
listen, all I'm saying is if we had a nickel for every friend in our group chat that had a double prize penalty on stream, we'd have 2 nickels, which
Hey,
isn't
what
a
does
lot.
Serena do again?
It's so funny. Hamza's so lucky we didn't have a podcast back then. We would have. We still roast him endlessly for it. It's
Oh, I'm
hilarious
sure.
stuff. But yeah, obviously that was a fun weekend for you. Again, I played Reggie Drago. I won 2 games, lost 4 of them, and then I'm like, yeah, we're done here. We're doing something else with our time. I hit some jank matchups. Reggie Drago is just like I hit some matchups in the field that were like a little bit awkward for me. I hit 2 slow Gardevoirs, which like on paper is a bad matchup for me. I had this one guy was like he was a nice guy. He was kind of sweating me for the win. Like when we're at like the 1-3 table, like the 2, or like the 2-3 table. Like we're not really playing for anything, and I'm just like,
Fries
man,
in the back, man. Just fries
yeah,
in
it's
the back.
like you want this much more than I do. Like I don't care at this point. So I was just kind of like checked out after that point. I was like, yeah, we're it's like I don't want to start arguing with people over board state when like I'm like this low onto the tables. It's like, come on, man. I'm just gonna go on with my weekend.
Yeah.
But Reggie Drago was not my friend this weekend.
Reggie Drago.
Yeah, it's fine. That deck stinks now anyway. So
Yep. Now you can just put in the garbage and move on to greener pastures, like Sarlage. Right?
yeah, it's a guy. It's all right.
He's all right.
In a meta where Gardevoir is really good and Dragapult, I've learned those matchups are god awful. So, again, we'll see where things go. I don't think Badoo's like broken by any stretch of the imagination, but it does make certain deck archetypes feel like an absolute chore.
I mean, with Sarlage in particular, like if you get Badoo, you just go, okay, cool, I'll just kill it with Charcadet. Like,
yeah,
it was like a 30 damage attack as a like a Firemon, so you just
you do that's why the Surging Sparks Cerulege, or excuse me, the Charcadet is the optimal one because it's a 1 energy attack for 20, hits Badoo for weakness, you knock out Badoo. There's a lot of games where I got Badoo locked. I was like, okay, attach to the active Will-O-Wisp. See you later.
Yep.
See you next turn.
Yep.
So I think we're gonna see decks like that kind of function a little bit more frequently. That's why I think Gardevoir is obviously so good right now. Being able to draw under item lock is very important.
Guardy's busted, man.
Yeah, Draclo too.
Yeah, the good old recon directive. So consistent. I do think though, we have 3 weeks until we see EUSC, right?
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot more room to experiment, right? Because I think the thing that's holding a lot of people back is just from last format, Reggie Drago just had such a chokehold on the meta and what was able to even function because the viability of your deck basically revolved around, okay, are you able to handle Reggie Drago, right? But I feel like with Badoo, it opens the door up for a lot of more slower archetypes. Like Dragapult, Dusknoir would not have stood a chance against like a full powered Drago, like
No.
without Badu. Like you just lose. You just get
Yeah.
Curum, then you lose, and you want to cry.
Yeah.
But now, right? Who knows? Who knows
Yeah.
what could be good, man? Like,
Yeah. I think it's just funny like looking at like a deck like Dragapult Dusknoir, which has like always been like a fringe like good deck. It did win a regional early in the year, one of the European regionals. But even then, everyone's just like, this deck is so fake. You're playing 3 stage 2s. Like, this shouldn't work on paper. But now Badu just like gives that deck a completely different angle. It's just like, okay, like going first, you're a deck that wants to set up and go first. You're a rare candy deck. So, you can
that was
attack
the
turn
one.
2.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, it's a deck that now has more flex. It's a little bit less one dimensional going second. You have some lines of play that aren't just like, okay, I'm gonna Evo and hope that you don't like cure him or like knock out all 3 of my Dreepies.
Yeah, you're referring to the one Okada one, right? With the it was
with
like
Pidgeot and Dusknoir.
with Pidgeot and Tatsu. He was playing Tatsugiri too, right?
He was playing Tatsugiri.
Yeah, good old 1 pound fish. Love that guy.
Love that guy. He's a little guy. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that little dude. So, but yeah, that's always been like a fringe good deck, and I think it's very clear that like that's going to be one of the early favorites going into EUIC. I've slept on a deck like I was sleeping on a deck like Cloth for a while too. I think Cloth is actually not that bad either. Just
Mochi
because
Badu is war crimes, man.
Yeah, that's
Mochi Badu.
Mochi Badu is kind of sick.
Kill a Dreepy with poison and item lock. It's like sign the slip, little bro. Like, it's crazy, man.
It is kind of sick. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the meta kind of warps around this. And like, I mean, I feel like a lot of the player base is kind of checked out at this point, just because we're so close to rotation anyway. It is kind of hard to be locked in right now. And it is kind of a shame that like EUIC is like not the rotation, IC that it has been the last 2 seasons. I think they maybe did that on purpose this year. Who knows? But, we'll cross that bridge later. Instead, we get to do it stateside. Andrew's gonna lock in Mammoth Swine whether he likes it or not.
I've been preaching that deck to the freaking hilltops, man. I am so excited for Mammoth Swine.
I keep like scouring like the City League results to like find something that like speaks to me, but like turns out Raging Bolt and Dragapult are both going to be very, very good next format, so which is fun. But hey, that means Lily's Clefairy has an angle. A viability because that's true. It's going to give Dragon type Pokemon something to have to sweat about a little bit. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, we'll see when we get our products in if it ever shows up. But yeah, any other thoughts on San Antonio as a city, as a regional, as a concept?
It was lit, man. You should go. Just regional or not, man. It's a beautiful spot.
Shout out to Lonesome Rose. Great T-shirt. Great little dive bar in Texas.
Right by the Airbnb. It was a 5-minute walk.
Definitely the most Texas place we went all weekend. That is like one of my one gripes is that like as the Riverwalk was fun, but it was very like it was a lot of chain places. So like it was kind of hard to be like super like it was fun, but like it's like it's a bunch of chains. I can go to so. That place felt like an authentic, just like, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of, nowhere, Texas.
We're in
and this is like
Tejas.
a real ass bar. Yeah.
I almost forgot the greatest thing that I got in Texas.
Me too,
I think you know what I'm about to pull out.
I know what you're about to say.
My goat, Meg Griffin, ripped this thing first try on the claw machine. You're gonna see that on the vlog.
It is.
Stay tuned.
Vlog. Yeah,
it's on my Twitter also. So I just fell. No, Meg.
Okay. Shut up, Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
Great stuff. We love to see it.
But
I think that'll bring us into our next segment of the show. Actually, real quick before we get into Squawker Seas, Andrew, did you notice any of the new products that we got coming out on the horizons?
There's like the Dragapult deck, right?
Yes, yeah, we're getting a new League Battle deck. It was Dragapult EX and the Lily's Premium Tournament Collection.
Oh yeah, that too. I did see that.
I am a big fan of the carton products. I think those are sick. I bought one of the Iono ones when those came out, and I think these are also they're looks cool. You're gonna be able to get Lily's Clefairy promos. Hopefully they don't get scalped to smithereens. You'll be able to get your hands on one.
Waifu tax is a hell of a drug to a lot of these people.
I hate these people so much, man. Like these people are
And
sick.
the worst part is they don't even play the game.
No, they don't.
Yep.
I will say though, I think the Dragapult deck is fun though. I mean, we're getting a Fez reprint.
Real.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch the market price on Fez just crater.
Has it already?
I don't know if it has yet. I think like base rarity Fez is still like $10-$12, I think.
All right.
Which is like fine
like,
for a one of.
It was like 20 at launch or something. So you know what? I'll take what I can get.
But you get unfair stamped. You get 4 copies of Dragapult EX, which I think is probably overkill.
A little excessive, but you know.
It's fine. Dragapults were expensive. Were like annoyingly expensive for a while too. So I think having more of those is always.
They give you an extra one to put in your Drago deck. Oh wait.
Oh wait, yeah, that guy's dead. He can't come to the phone anymore. He's dead. Yeah. I'm excited for those. I think these products are fun. They're coming out in April, so look forward to that. Right before. Actually, did they even give it a release date here? Can I get these before I go to Atlanta?
Talking about Journey Together, isn't that like end of March?
April 25th. Oh, can't get the Lily stuff. Darn. Dang shame. Oh well.
Oh well.
But I guess now we will transition into into one of my favorite parts of the show, Squawk or Seize. So this is that question game where we ask our guests various this or that questions, and they give us their hot takes on it. We alluded to it earlier. Andrew's a bit of a sweat. Andrew likes to play video games a lot. Games that have ladders and chat rooms where people can say very disparaging things about people in your family. So I figured it'd be fun to kind of get Andrew's stance on other competitive avenues that he enjoys. And I don't have to. George doesn't have to pretend to know what esports are because he's not here. So I think I think I will be very well equipped for this one. So Andrew, are you ready to squawk or seize this week in competitive games?
Ready as ever. Let's do it. Let's get it, Kyle.
All right. Well, we'll get it right out of the way. Off the rip. Squawk or seize Pokken Tournament.
Oh, squawk every day, brother. Admittedly, I have not played that game in a bit. Probably like over a year at this point. I've since.
Oh, you didn't sit down and do the free play setups when we went to.
No, dude, I was too busy playing in the bracket.
This guy's too busy waiting to play Pokken with his friends.
Yeah, I mean, some of my friends from the Texas Pokken scene pulled up to San Antonio. Shout outs to them. I would have, but too busy winning. You know what I mean? But yeah, a big fan of Pokken. A lot of fond memories. I am a Scizor main in that game.
Love that guy.
He's a pretty cool character.
Cool guy. She's very much a chill guy. All right, Squawk or Seize. Again, we mentioned it. Ball up top for sure. Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo Wii U.
Oh, for Wii U, Squawk, baby. I love me some Smash 4, bro. You can see me any day of the week. That's another game I have not touched in a hot minute, to be fair, but I will wash any of you with Corrin.
What a character! There's a great set of Andrew playing one of the best players in the world at one point. A young lad, Andrew against Mr. MK Leo himself.
An even younger lad.
No. Yeah, you were baptized that day for sure.
Oh yeah, he just up smashed me when I was air dodging. He just read that 3 times in a row. It's oh cool, I just die at 60. It's great.
Oh cool, I'm actually just stupid.
yeah, I was stupid. I'm cringe.
Good stuff. All right, let's keep the gravy train a rolling. We recently dabbled in this game, and I'm curious what your thoughts are in general of this sort of genre. Are we going to squawk or seize the hero shooters? What are your? We did recently turn one of our Pokemon grind sessions into teaching our friends how to play Marvel Rivals. So how are we feeling on hero shooters?
So Marvel Rivals in particular, big squawk. That game is addictive. Man,
it is a lot of fun.
That game is so fun. Only with friends, though. Don't solo queue. Please don't solo queue. You're gonna go insane. I did have one night though where I solo queued just randomly and won like 8 games in a row. I don't know how, but
Goat.
it's definitely exception, not the exception to the rule or whatever. However the saying goes, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but let's see, characters in that game. Really like Rocket. Really like Namor, Penny, Magneto. A few other jobbers in there that I like. So shout out to Squirrel Girl as well. Um, Overwatch. C's nowadays. I used to play it a
Yeah.
bit. Shout out my guy Winston though. Big fan
Yeah.
of Winston. Big monkey with the big gun. Uh,
Big
yeah,
fan.
Overwatch 2 kind of sucks, man. I don't know. It's kind of just cringe.
Yeah,
Other
it's tough.
than yeah,
Go
go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, yeah, other than Rivals and Overwatch, I haven't really gotten into any other hero shooters. I mean, if you want to count Valorant as a hero shooter for some reason, it's not really one. Kind of, it's like a
Yeah.
hero attack shooter. I
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
played the beta. It was fine. I haven't really played it since. I'm not really a attack shooter guy.
That's a game that like I would like to get more deeply involved with just because it's free. So like I don't have an excuse. Same thing with like Marvel Rivals. I'm also like a sucker for IP. Like that's why I like that's like a recognizable IP is how you get me like to buy your product.
My
Like
consumer brain is
yeah,
tingling.
I got yeah,
whenever I
my
play.
consumer brain goes stupid crazy, bro. You think I didn't buy tickets to see Captain America already? Like I'm seeing that shit next week.
Oh,
I'm crazy. But yeah, it's just like I have always like enjoyed stuff like Overwatch and stuff from afar. Obviously, being in esports, I have a lot of friends that like cross pollinate
yeah.
into games like that. So like, I've always kind of just like casually played on my own or with like friends. I think those games are best played with friends and not with strangers or solo queue because like
Don't
you
solo
will
queue.
lose your mind trying to solo queue in a hero shooter. It is mind numbingly evil. But yeah, Marvel Rivals is a lot of fun. I could feel myself getting addicted, like when we were playing together a few nights ago. I didn't want to put myself in a scenario where I was grinding Marvel Rivals instead of actually playing Pokemon. So I wanted to hold off until I was actually like done, focusing on a regional I was going to. And now that I'm done, I think it might just be time once I'm caught up with all
The
the
Squawk and
contest that I think
C's
is coming.
Marvel Rivals team, bro? I
Yeah,
don't know, man. George is
might be
Iron
time.
Man, bro. We gotta get him in the hyperbolic time chamber, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to get him a real computer. That's not fun.
That's
But
true.
he
That
did
is
all
true.
right. He did all right for a first timer. So
Yeah.
it's time to try out some other stuff as well. And that's why I think we'll transition into this my next Squawker Seas. You mentioned that you you dabble in this game in the past. Tell us how you really feel about Yu-Gi-Oh? Were you squawking or
Yu-Gi-Oh! Ooh. Okay. This is weird. So, if I were to give an overall answer, definitely Squawk, right? How I feel about the game right now, C's as fuck. That game is so cringe, dude. Oh my god, I could rant. I mean, the game, I've been still following the game from a few content creators that I watch for it. Watch a fair bit of Joshua Schmidt, a fair bit of Farfa. You may have seen those names because you're
yes?
TCG
Yeah,
tangential, you know. Um, so I still follow the game like through those guys, right? The game seems to be heading in the right direction, but at the same time, like it's so expensive for no reason. Like you look at how they distribute rarities in Japan and how you could get meta staples, like the top of the top meta staples for like $10.
yeah,
Kind of like Fez here, and it's like, okay, sure. Then you look at that same. What I want you to do real quick. What I want you to do real quick. I want you to go on
okay,
TCG Player, right? You're
okay.
gonna look up a card called Mulcharmy Fualos. I could spell
How do
that
I?
out for you.
Okay, please do.
So Mulcharmy. It might have popped up already.
Molcharmy Fawalos.
Yeah. I want you to look at how much that card is worth right now.
Ah! Ah!
Hey, you want to know something? You
Ah!
want to know something? You want to know something epic? That card is a 3 of in every single meta deck right now. It's
Dog,
so
what?
bad.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
bad. It costs like 2.5 Pokemon decks for one card. It's fucked up, right?
That's
How
not
insane
okay.
is that?
Like I know, like one of my very good friends has played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I've always heard horror stories about how expensive Yu-Gi-Oh is, and then it's like I shouldn't be surprised by this, but then like I look at and then I see these things, and I'm just like I can't fathom. Like I hate spending like $50 on food. Like when I spend $30 on DoorDash, I feel like such a piece of garbage. Spending like instead of $75 a pop on a card, I would
Oh
crash
it.
out so hard.
Oh wow, it's 75 now. That shit used
That's
to be
market
like
price.
that was like 130 on launch, dude.
Yeah,
130 a pop.
that's crazy.
Like
Uh,
yeah, dude. I have not spent nowhere near as much on that. Like I bought 3 decks over of course I was playing IRL. All of them cost between $100 and $200. So it's manageable. It's definitely no Pokemon, right? But
that is crazy.
yeah, you're definitely skipping out on playing like the top meta stuff if you're trying to go down that budget route, which sucks, especially for a card like Fualos, which is a very generic card in the game that every deck can play. It sucks. It's cringe. Speaking of cringe, also the scene in like I don't mean to call out anyone in particular, but if I just compare Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh as a scene based on what I've been to, Pokemon is so much cooler, man. Like the people there are so much cooler. There's some weirdos in Yu-Gi-Oh, man. There's some
Yeah,
really weird characters in Yu-Gi-Oh.
I like my friends that play Yu-Gi-Oh. Strangers that play Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't
I've
I
met
do
some
not
cool people
condone.
through Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, don't get me wrong, but exceptions to the rule once again, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of rough.
Do you have any other like? Have you dabbled in like other card games that aren't Yu-Gi-Oh in Pokemon? And I forget if I've ever asked you this before.
Not really. Um, like super casually, I like tried out like Hearthstone like on my phone, right? Other than that, it's kind of just been those two. I would love to try One Piece. That game does look kind of cool. I do not follow the show at all, but the card game looks cool. Same with Lorcana. Lorcana looks kind of cool as well.
Mm. That's
Um,
that's a game
yeah,
I've always like again as someone that's like an IP an IP consumer.
consumer.
Yeah, I've always been like loosely interested in Lorcana.
Mm.
But it's another one of those things where it's like affordability. It's like, do I really like have the time or the patience to like throw this much money into something else?
It ain't
Like
Yu-Gi-Oh money.
it ain't
From what I've
Yu-Gi-Oh
seen,
money.
it ain't Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah,
money, but it's more than Pokemon. That's for
yeah,
damn sure. When like One
yeah.
Piece decks are like 400 or 500, like it's yeah.
It's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
brother, I gotta pay rent. Like, I got bills to pay. Thank God, Pokemon.
Pokemon's up so good, man, in that regard.
Yeah, really are. Like, they're printing like meta decks for like $30. Like, it's insane. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, though, like I do like I've dabbled in like the Star Wars card game, Star Wars Unlimited. I actually do think that game's a lot of fun. I just
See
don't
Jason
have.
playing it at the shop a lot.
Yeah, it's fun. I think the game's very interesting. It's a game I would like to maybe try to get back into a little bit more actively.
I'd try it for sure.
Yeah, I love Star Wars. Star Wars is cool. Do you want to play the Gundam card game?
The what?
I just
That
found out about this
exists.
recently. Yeah,
That exists.
there's a Gundam trading card game produced by Bandai Namco Games. So
Wow.
I believe it's in beta right now. So I follow I follow a bunch of TCG content creators. I am
Mhm.
a follower of Professor Walt. Does a lot of Pokemon content.
I've not heard of him.
I'm a fan of his work.
Mhm.
He makes like weekly vlogs of him going to his like local tournaments in like Ohio.
Oh, that sounds sick.
Yeah, and he recently went to a Gundam card game beta tournament. I think the game's in beta right now. They're doing
Oh.
like random store trials. The game doesn't
Mhm.
launch officially until July.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But he posted a video about like what you get in like a kit. It looks really interesting.
Speaking of Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I love Gundam as an IP. Like Gundams are cool, but like it's got the Bandai card text, where it's just like there's like 3 different things happening on the card, or
Yeah.
like it's like a lot of reading.
Yeah. I have one friend who's like been really into One Piece and the Dragon Ball card game. And then another one from the Pokken scene who's actually been really, really into the Digimon card game.
Mm.
But Digimon cards have a lot of text on them. I'm not trying to read that shit. I did enough of that in Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm good. What I was gonna say though, going off the consumer brain, Union Battle Arena, I gotta try
Ooh.
that shit. You've seen that, right?
Yeah, it looks sick. I'm into
Yeah,
it.
I like me some anime, so
I think my biggest gripe with that game is that like you can't like mix and match animes. Like you have to play like a Hunter deck, or you have to play like a Bleach deck. Like you can't
mm.
like they. I think from what I understand, they pigeonhole you into playing like whatever that
Oh, so it's kind
anime
of like
is.
Weiss Schwartz in that regard, right? Because
Yes.
Weiss Schwartz kind
Yeah.
of does the same thing.
Yeah. That's another game I tried for at one point in my life, and that's just
Oh
like
yeah.
it's fine. Like it's a little too complicated for my blood. I'm sure if I actually sat down and tried to play it, it'd be fine. But like, it was just one of those things. Like I was like really into. I forget what anime I was watching at the time when I was in college when this came out. But it's interesting. Like the cards look nice. I think the card arts are cool. But yeah,
Hmm.
the shout out to shout out to the Gundam TCG. It looks real cool.
I'll check it out.
I might try to dabble a bit in that. And let's see, I'll throw you one more just to kind of appease the crowd. Squawker sees League of Legends.
All right, this one's kind of funny. So right now, C's right. I do not touch League at all. The Riot client is currently uninstalled on my computer. It will be reinstalled when 2XKO comes out, but that's beside the point. Um, there was a period when I was in college. I had a couple roommates who really, really like League of Legends, uh, and they convinced me to try the game one day. Um, I played a bit on and off for like a year, and I was like, I'm curious. How much time did I put into this game? I put in over 1,000 hours without even me fucking realizing, man. That game is a black hole of time, dude. Don't don't ever don't ever do it. It's such a mistake.
That is so
I'm
funny.
ashamed. I'm ashamed to put that out into the ether, but yes, that happened to me in like 2021, 2022-ish.
Wow.
I not solo queued. I solo main support, but not the cringe supports. Like I played the hook champs because I'm based like that. Shout out my boy Blitzcrank. Shout out my boy Nautilus. Those guys are beast. But don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yo, that's crazy.
It's bad.
I played League a little bit in college, because there's a this is gonna sound yeah. There's a girl in one of my classes that played League of Legends, and
Ooh.
needless to say, I did not. I couldn't do it, man. I've tried 3 separate times. I think during the pandemic, I even tried. I'm like, nah, I'm not. Well, for these reasons, I'm out. Sharks, we're done here.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, let's listen. If we learned anything tonight, is that Andrew is a sweaty gamer and will sink thousands of hours into something even if he doesn't really like it. So, here's to sinking more hours into something you maybe do like in the future, which is Pokemon the trading card game.
Pokemon cool. Pokemon good.
Yeah, I'll send you.
I
I'll
like.
send you a link to the Gundam stuff. This actually looks kind of sick.
Yeah, let me check that
I
out.
found
That actually looks sick.
there's yeah, but I think that's going to be it for this week's episode. Andrew, thank you so much for filling in for Big Georgie this week. I know you got big shoes to fill, but we're happy to have you
Big
on
shoes.
the show.
Big
And large shoes, 2 of them, in fact, maybe
True.
3 shoes,
Maybe.
unsure of. But thank you so much for your patronage this week. Let the people know where they can find you if they feel so inclined to do so.
Of course, man. Yo, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. God rest George's soul. We'll get him next time, man.
Yeah, we'll have you back on at some point.
Yeah.
So.
I'm pretty much only on Twitter at ZucchiniNJ. I don't post that often, but I kind of If I do well at a Pokemon tournament, or if I have some kind of stupid meme to post, then you can find me there. Maybe yap a bit. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, don't immediately leave the call when we finish recording.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So, but I always forget to mention that up top. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ. Again, the vlog will be out before this video comes out, so you'll probably be getting the vlog on Saturday. You'll be getting this on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. You got any hot picks for who's going to win the Super Bowl this Sunday?
I filled in a box at work, so whatever that falls into, that's what I support.
Whatever score ends in an 8 and a 7, that wins me $500.
Something like that. I forget what the numbers were.
Yeah, well, can't wait for that. But all the content stuff should be out for the San Antonio stuff should be out by the end of this week. By the time you get this episode,
I can already see that vlog's gonna rip. That vlog is gonna rip.
Seriously, there's a lot of stuff on this video, man. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. Obviously, Georgia's going to EUIC, so we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. I'm not going to any regionals until after rotation. So, like I said, I might start messing around with some other card games again. But we'll see. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be commentating and doing all that fun stuff too on late night every Wednesday. But yeah, that's going to be it for this week's episode, gamers. And until next time, we'll see you again. Have yourselves a wonderful night. We'll catch you later.
Boys.